Yeah, I will. See you guys.
Awesome. Thanks. Bye.
All right, so we're bringing on Mr. Sebastian now. There he is.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Hold on, make sure my camera's clean here. So I woke up this morning and I said, I knew I committed to this and I knew it was remote, but I thought, this is really cramping my morning routine. If I have to sit at my desk on a Saturday morning, I mean, I'm not above doing it by any means, but man, I got to hit Scotty up. Can we do this from the beach?
Yeah.
And you egged me on. So here we are, here we are.
Well, good stuff, man. Well, we are sharing this across the board, across multiple countries. Glad to have you. So why don't you start off there ranting before you get into too big a rant, Mr. Rusk. Tell people a little about who you are and what you do, my friend.
So I'm an on-air personality. I help businesses and brands. What I've done over the past 8 years is build my brand Social Buzz TV and simultaneously built my personal brand. And my personal brand involves me being an event MC, a rocker of bow ties, a keynote speaker on the topic of digital marketing and social media, and then obviously running the agency here. So our brand Social Buzz TV is an online media outlet that creates content on our own behalf and then on behalf of our agency clients. And then the real category of one is that I throw myself into the mix as the celebrity spokesperson for the smaller guy, the guy that will never be able to afford an actual celebrity to rep their product or service, etc. So I've kind of coined that for myself and just trying to fire on all cylinders when it comes to building I set out to do this 8 years ago. I said, I don't want this here today, gone tomorrow, meaning previously I had a business that was contingent upon how the market performed, right? The real estate industry. That all changed in 2008, 2009. I said, I will never have a business that makes me depend on where the market's at to survive. I want to build a long-term sustainable brand. And I just believe where we're at this day and age, you are the brand as the human being because people are buying from you as the human being. If you're a realtor, people are making the single biggest financial decision they will ever make in their life with you, not Caldwell Banker, not whatever these 1,900 other real estate companies are out there. So fast forward to present day, I MC events quite often. I really enjoy doing that. That's my passion. I found that I'm able to bring my gift to an event and keep it on time, keep it entertained. They laugh at my jokes sometimes. I meet some great people like yourself and your lovely wife. And just a world of opportunity has kicked open through the event world. But until I'm doing this full-time and crisscrossing the globe and doing 3 gigs a week, I'm helping the little guy really get his mind and her mindset in the game. You know what? I can't actually do this because I find that majority of the work that I do is shifting people's mindset that they are okay to actually shoot a video of themselves and talk about their business. So it's been a wild ride. I'm a full-time single dad to a beautiful 17-year-old daughter who's off to college next year. So
congrats.
Building the dream. I built this thing from nothing. Like I tell people, Scott, I used to walk everywhere. I drove here today in my 2014 Camaro, and I drove really fast here, and it was really fun. But I don't say that to brag. I say that as a reminder to myself every day that, remember you used to walk everywhere and take the bus while I built this brand. So I'm humbled by opportunities like this to hang out with you guys for a little bit and tell my story. And then, go on a rant on how I feel, where we're at, where, what we all should be doing and how we should be thinking pertaining to this whole world of social media that, by the way, even though it's 15 years old, is just getting started. So.
Perfect, man. Well, that is great stuff. We're always glad to have you, man. It's always good picking your brain, hanging out, catching up with you when we see you at different events. You always do bring the energy. You bring the house down. We live in a world where if you decide you want to take a bike ride, you can take your debit card out and swipe up on a bike. That's in, okay? So I just want to throw that out there. Social media day. Come on. I was actually in very first social media day ever that Mashable did right here on Miami Beach. It was a social media day Miami. And I think that was 2010 was the first year. Yeah. That was my very first event. Wow, that was great. So I conceptualized Social Buzz TV over a cocktail with a new
person that was introduced to me right here on Miami Beach. And I thought, well, now what I'm going to do is I got a logo, Social Buzz TV. So I started just running around town on the bus on my skateboard, telling people I'm going to educate people on Social Buzz TV or social media. It's going to be called Social Buzz TV. It's going to be the greatest thing ever. And what happened in that process, Scott, is that I was playing the part. I actually started becoming the part because I started getting phone calls. Hey, do you want to come and sponsor and help out with social media, Dan? I thought, why, yes, I got some shirts printed up. I got a banner printed up, took the bus to the event with my banner and my shirt. So I share all this, Scott, because if somebody's watching this right now, they need to know that there has never been a more exciting time to start a business, to be alive, to be an entrepreneur. The amount of resources are endless. But I'm going to let, this is your interview here. So I'm going to let you lead it.
Hey, you are doing a great job, buddy. I love the energy, but you're 100% right. That's the beautiful thing about this. We all agree to that. That's on here. It's just a matter of getting those that are watching who don't have that belief. They maybe don't understand it because maybe they just don't get it because they don't have the right mindset. You said something very good there. The fact that you spend time with a small guy getting his or her mindset right is so critical to not only short-term but long-term success.
Well, I think it really comes down to, you know, I question my long-term intentions all the time for one reason, and that is, you know, are you doing shit that matters? Because if you're not, you're just spinning your wheels and you're just in the game for you. So I had to find an angle that I could create some leverage on myself to let myself clearly see and feel that I'm delivering something service-based, right? So anytime the phone rings and it's something local here or it's something remote, are you available for an interview? Are you available for an introduction? Are you available to do this, that, or the other? The answer is almost always yes, because whatever I can do, I mean, I just can't believe how blessed I've been over the past 8 years to build something from nothing that's now something, right? So I feel guilty not being able to do it. So I think that honing in on what you're passionate about and finding out, well, I don't know what my passion is. Listen, yes, you do, because when you wake up every morning, you had that little feeling in your stomach and your feet hit the floor and you're like, yeah, I want to do that. That is your passion. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to figure out, but unfortunately, Scott, I can't figure your passion out and you can't figure mine out. The good Lord left that up to us and him. So, yeah, go ahead. I'm like, I'm on the beach, and I'm in my element. I'm like, don't get me started here. We could go on. We only got 30 minutes here.
That's right, buddy. Well, hey, you mentioned something we were texting back and forth there on Facebook about how I love you. You wrote a book a few years ago called Social Media Sucks, right?
If you don't know what you're doing.
Exactly. And you wanted to talk a little about that, how difficult it can be, or how bad it can suck if you don't know what the hell you're doing or what your passion is, right?
And I know, unfortunately, there's a lot of people that just don't know what they're doing, or they're just in the dark thinking that this stuff's just going to go away and everything's going to return back to the way that it used to be. Let's roll in the fax machines. Let's order some beepers. We're going back in time, baby. And that ship has sailed. It has sailed so far that we can now be in the shower, run out of shampoo, and order it while we're in the shower. Thanks to Alexa and Google Home and everybody, the other ones that are adopting to it. I mean, this voice era that we live in, I don't need to tell you anything with your uber popular podcast that you crank out like every day, I think. It seems like it, which is hats off to you, brother. Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, that's the world that we're living in. It blows my mind. We can rent bikes with debit cards and you can order, hey, Alexa, order shampoo. I got other shit, no problem. And next, it'll be what kind of shampoo? So if we look at the B2B side real quick, and you're a business right now, and you're a retail business, and you sell products online, offline, both. I don't care what you do. You need to be thinking about what your voice strategy is. What is the voice skill that you're going to be you're going to put together so that when the time's, and it's coming, I'd say 24 months minimum, 36 months maximum, where brands are going to compete. That when I say, Alexa, order me 2 bottles of shampoo, even though I don't need any shampoo.
Maybe a little razor and some soap.
Exactly. Just like all of my settings on Amazon Prime are already all set up my preferences of everything that I buy are going to be on there, and brands are going to compete to be in that space. Now, I'm not saying you may be a local organic shampoo company. You can't compete against Pantene. I get and understand all that, but there will be a space for you in there. So something to start thinking about as a brand. If you want to get ahead of the curve, what is your real voice, your actual voice with that? Because it creates a frictionless environment, Scott, and that's what we all want. We want convenience and we want frictionless. If we don't have to get up to turn on a light, we're not going to, right? The years of the clapper are gone, okay? But we thought the clapper was the coolest thing since sliced bread, really. And the whole story about sliced bread, that's a whole nother webinar. But anyway.
That's a whole nother day for another event, definitely. So you're doing some amazing things there locally, working with entrepreneurs and small businesses, helping them develop their story, helping them develop their voice.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So let's talk a little bit about that. Some of the things that you're doing there, because I know you're doing a variety of different things, which is awesome. Because I pay attention and watch all the stuff that you're doing. That's why I called you up and said, hey, let's get you on here to talk about this. But you're
Sure.
doing some great stuff, but I also know you're banging your head against some things like we all do with clients that are like, why can they just not freaking get it? You know what I mean?
Bam.
Yeah.
It's so funny. My attorney, who's also one of our largest agency clients and a dear friend of mine, constantly repeats to, like, I'm heavily involved in B&I in our chapter. And he's like, Rusk is always complaining that people don't get it. And I go, because they don't, counselor. If they did, he thinks that I don't get it, but it's this whole age of disruption. And then he's like, yeah, you're definitely a disruptor, Rusk. Definitely a disruptor. I mean, I always have been. Ask the teachers, back in grade school. But
yeah, we would never see that.
Not even a little bit. You see my desk right next to the teacher's desk? She loved me, though. She totally loved me. So couple things we've been able to do over the past 8 years. Number one, I was able to build a business. I took a year from 2010 to 2011 trying to figure out what the hell this thing even was going to be. Riding the bus around town, selling the dream, playing the part, and then I became the part in 2011 when I started doing my own networking events. And then people would come to my boot camps and they'd say, hey, met you at your networking event, went to your boot camp. Maybe you can help me out with my social media. And I said, maybe I can. They're like, how much is it to set up a Facebook page? I was like, $199. So I just, and I was floored the fact that I was actually going to be compensated to play around on Facebook all day. So opened the agency in 2011 for Social Buzz TV, and we did everything. You name it. You want us to watch your kids on the weekend? We're in. We did it all. And everyone, Scotty, was our ideal client. Everybody. Boy, did I learn my lesson real quick that the less they pay, the crazier they are. So I fired a lot of clients. I learned a lot. I understood what was what. And then in the middle of 2016, the entire plane just started to free fall, just like out of the sky. And the good Lord said, I'm going to pull you out of the world for a little bit. And we're going to put you in some personal development for a few months in 2016. And I don't know how much personal development you've done, but nobody wants to look inside. But once you're in, you're in. And the outside world really doesn't exist because you're doing so much work internally to become who you need to be. It was then that I wasn't understanding it, but I went through a radical training in the summer of 2016 that rocked my cage. It was called gratitude training, and it rocked my cage to the core and helped me understand who I really was, self-love, self-respect, the whole nine. And I thought, holy cow, when I came out of it, a year later, I thought that was training to become who I need to be for the brand that I'm building so that I don't mess it up, right? I think it was Jim Rohn that told Tony Robbins, become a millionaire for who you become in the process, not because, oh, I'm a millionaire. So the plane was going down. Thank God for that course. I came out of it. It was a long recovery to get out of it. The only way out is through, but sometimes through is a long time. So at the end of that year, after damn near losing the whole thing, I called an old friend and I said, I want to reshape everything we're doing. I'm going to let the rest of our clients go. I mean, no parachute jump, just out of personal development. I've just ripped my insides out and back out again, right? And now I'm going to fire all my clients but I'm a man of faith and it's unshakable. And I just believe that my best days are ahead of me. And if I've made it this far, he's just not going to give up on me now. So I continued to keep swinging. And I called a friend and I said, all we want to do is buzz videos. We shoot, produce, and edit everything on iPhones and iPads. It's going to be called social media buzz videos. And I tell you what, I'm going to give you one for free. And this is actually my attorney now, like our largest client I was telling you about. And he said, you know, I appreciate it, Russ, but people don't go on the internet to look for attorneys. And I was like, oh, that's where you're wrong, counselor. I said, I'm giving you free shit. Will you take it? Right. So he's like, all right, done. I'll take the video. I said, all I want you to do in exchange is just tell people about the video. You know, a lot of people, you're very well connected down here in Miami. He said, no problem. So I went in there, we shot the video, and he came up to me and he goes, in his attorney way, you know what, Rusk? I want to do this every week. How much is it? And I was like, it's $1,000 a month. He's like, cut him a check. Let's go, Rusk. I want to be internet famous. And I go, oh, we went from skeptic to internet famous. So we shot 6 videos. We started with the Legal Buzz campaign and later, and it's now Title Buzz, and several other campaigns we're running. But the first Legal Buzz campaign, we shot 6 videos, tips, tricks, tools, ideas, frequently asked questions. And then I think the real magic in those videos is that when we share it with the brand, I then go share it. And then I tag Rich, and Rich tags other people that he knows, and we tag our whole freaking chapter. And what happens there is not that it annoys everybody. Those people want to see the content. Don't tag anybody that doesn't want to see your stuff. Those people want to see the content, but they also will share it too. And people come out of the woodwork. Well, someone came out of the woodwork that he went to like elementary school with. And he was like, Rich, I totally forgot you're doing real estate law. I've got a matter on my hands that is crazy. And I need help like 911 on it. He said, no problem. Send it over. He said, I could totally help you out. Equal to $25,000 retainer. I thought, you know what? I'm back. Number one. Number two, Rich was like, all right, this kid is, listen, he's the best. This kid is the best of the best. If anything, I'm doing business just because he's the best. And there's nobody that pitches in. I love him like a brother. He's the best. We're the best of friends and client. And he keeps me honest. He keeps me real honest. And that's always good to have an attorney close to you that keeps you honest. But when that happened and start to click, I said, we're onto it. So I conceptualized a gold, silver, and platinum package for videos, a solution from $200 to $1,000 a month. And I've just been knocking on doors and networking through BNI and my own personal network and education to help that local small business. And then my podcast was my passion. And I relaunched it 3 times because of technology. Remember Blab, remember Blog Talk Radio, all those broke my heart. And when passion projects break your heart, you don't get motivated to do them. Like you got to be disciplined to record an episode of a podcast that's not going to make you a nickel right now. Right. So I relaunched it in same time, came out of the gates, went and got a place in a co-working space, got the agency back on track. It's all looking like a week. Like it's all inside. We got it all inside. We just don't realize it sometimes. And people were like, well, cool podcast, but how do I do that? Cool podcast. How do I do that? Cool podcast. How do I do that? And I thought, wait a second, hold up. There is a gaping hole in the market. Clearly I need to do something about it. Somebody said, why don't you create a course? I said, well, you know, here's how I feel about courses. Okay. People buy courses and then they don't do anything with them. And then for some crazy reason, I feel like crap about it. What I want to do is I want to do a done for you, done with you podcast launch solution to take you from 0 to launched in a period of about 60 or 90 days. And we're going to call it the Podcast Launch Lab, and we're going to give them the equipment, and we're going to give them everything they need to know to be able to just record the episodes. We're going to handle the production. We're going to coach them on getting it into the iTunes store, and then ongoing, it'll be a monthly membership. They have access to the Facebook group and can network with other podcasters, etc. And by golly, that's exactly what happened. I launched that puppy in about 2 weeks, and I said we're going to launch 10 shows. I'm going to physically launch the 10 shows myself and create the flow, make sure I'm not crazy. And we fell a little short. At the end of last year, we did 8. And then this year we've launched about 4, but that's because this is a luxury product. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be on board with a podcast right now. And you're already a believer. I'm preaching to the choir. But some people are on the fence. Should I do it? Should I not? You should take your phone out, get an $11 mic from Amazon, and hit record. Like my boy Brian Fanzo said, just hit the damn button and start recording. So it's not I am selling Rolexes right now, as my good friend Rich Barber would say. You're selling Rolexes, Rusk. You know how many idiots come in and try on a Rolex before the salesman actually gets to sell one? Welcome to the world of selling luxury products. So I said they're luxuries right now, but I you know, I consider myself being way ahead of the curve. And I've already got a plan to build the Podcast Launch Lab studio here in Miami. It'll be one of the first podcast studios here. I really envision this thing just expanding where we're launching podcasts and then we do Podcast Launch Lab live and I MC it and I bring in the show host to be the keynotes and we've got sponsors and just this huge, ginormous community that it's just taken over that really believe. And that stuff's already happening. You know, those guys at Podcast Movement and that's happened, I think that this month in Philadelphia, and there's huge communities out there, but still, no one knows what the hell a podcast is. Somebody walked up there and goes, I saw that podcast you posted on YouTube. It was awesome. I guess you and I understand we can post a podcast on YouTube, but if the average Joe's like, oh my God, I loved your podcast on YouTube,
Yeah.
you know that there's a huge learning curve out there. So yeah, the podcast launchlab.com. I give everything away free. I just take a free ebook, top 5 things you need to know, and a 25-minute training that just unpacks everything we do for clients. The only reason you would become a client of the podcast launch lab is because when you got a little skin in the game, you're a little more accountable. And plus I can give you that hug with a slap in the back of the head. So, if I have my dream, if I got my ideal day, as my good friend Jarek Robbins would say, it would be to wake up, figure out where my itinerary is, where I'm flying for the day, rock 4 to 6 events a month, an MC, and through those events, develop relationships, consult, execute strategies, help people launch podcasts, and better tell their story. That is my ideal day, and I'm going to do it. I already am doing it, but I'm talking at scale.
I was exactly going to say, you're already doing it. It's just you're on that path, Sebastian, which is a beautiful thing to see, man.
I tell you what, thanks, man. I appreciate that. It's the love and support of people within the community. It's not just you and I have never even exchanged a dollar. We've exchanged cocktail or two, but we've never exchanged a dollar. And but yet we got each other's back like a jacket, because you know that I legitimately give a shit about you and your business, and likewise. Yeah. That, my friends, is what social media is all about. And it was kind of sad. I did a panel the other night. I moderated a panel for a group that did like just a social media panel to celebrate Social Media Day, because it was last week. And I was originally involved with the Social Media Club of South Florida, which was ginormous, about 7,000-8,000 members. And over the past 10 years, I look at it, it dissipated. Like nobody's really around. Like we look at the pictures that pop up, and it was kind of sad. And it's cool to see that somebody's trying to regenerate it. But now you come hit me with National Social Media Day. I was like, why pigeonhole myself into Miami? If there's an opportunity down here, great. But getting on a global platform and talking to people, you know what I mean? People need to hear this. This is called the truth.
Amen to that. Preach on. Preach on, Brother Rusk.
Hey, one of my favorite quotes ever is that the truth will set you free, but first it will really piss you off.
That is the truth. Now, we've got.
You see this background? Is this real life?
I see the background. If you stand still long enough, we can enjoy it.
I was just making sure there wasn't any wind coming into my.
No, you're good. You're good.
Right, cool.
You're very good there. So you're launching podcasts. You're doing amazing stuff out there. You're out speaking all the time on that. You're interviewing Gary Vee at Sun Life Stadium.
Let me tell that story real quick. So Gary's a dear friend of mine, and I'm blessed to have him as just who he is in my life. I've known him for about 10 years now. Right when Crush It came out and I first started, when I was kind of pulling myself out of the dirt to kind of dust myself off and launch this empire that I'm building right now. I tracked him down, and of course he has always given his email address out. He always does. And I was able to track him down, but much more accessible back then. And then a year later, his second book came out, and his book stop was in Miami, around the corner from my house, which was the Thank You Economy. And the day before that, a film crew calls me and goes, hey, I got the interview confirmed. And I'm like, oh, cool. I'm just going to flip cam in the hallway. This is before we had 4K on smartphones. I'm going to, we'll just do something in the hallway real quick. He's probably going to be busy. No, he walked up by himself. I was in Coral Gables, right around the corner from my house. And I had a film crew call me the day before and go, hey, we've seen some of your work, and we want to work with you. And I'm like, what are you doing Tuesday night? And they rolled in with lights, action, camera, full-blown production. Me and Gary and I just chilled for an hour, and I interviewed him. Everything he said in that talk was relevant to what had happened over the past 12 months, or 16 months, as he would call executing on the Crush It blueprint. And then Thank You Economy being a follow-up to that. So as we continue to stay in touch, he's just been another guy that just has always told me the truth, and it's been fun to watch him go, I'm gonna be the social media celebrity. Like it's gonna happen, and there's gonna be a whole other market and stuff out there, but I'm gonna build a legacy here, and I'm gonna do shit that matters, and I'm gonna give and give and give and give and give, and I'm gonna guilt people into doing business with me because I've helped them so much. And that and I've really just followed that lead. So Gary gets paid about $160,000 a talk right now, which is ludicrous, as he would say. And
he gets 100. I called him up. I called up his people. He gets $100,000 for a 30 to 60-minute live stream.
Yeah. So that's just what's going down. It's just what's his age. one that reps Oprah. It blows his mind. It really, really does. But what I like that one thing I've learned from him is that you can turn it on and you can turn it off. So when you're on camera and he's on stage, he turns it on. When he's turned it off, he's connected right here. And really, honestly, one of the most humble individuals that I've ever met. He just tells me the absolute truth. So he said, it's great that I'm making $165,000 a talk, whatever it may be, but I'm renting. I'm not buying. And that's a problem for me. And I've got the resources now. Boehner's grown. We got 4 offices. We have 800 employees. And I just implemented a Boehner experience team, which is like, hey, let's just experiment with a couple things and see what happens. Well, one of those experiments was live events. So he put together an event called Agent 2021 down here last January, and it was for insurance agents, travel agents, real estate agents, and FBI agents. I'm kidding. I don't know what the 4th category is. But so I hit him up, and I'm like, yo, you're coming to the 305 to Dolphin Stadium. Hey, we welcome Jet fans at Dolphin Stadium.
You need 2 wins on the schedule each year.
Exactly. So he said, I said, I'll definitely be there to support you. What do you guys got going on, media wise? So he looped me in with his team, and his team was like, just the red carpet, just poof, like all the way up into the event. It was just exceptional. So he looped me in, and he said, hey, what are you guys doing for media? This is my boy Seb, known this guy a long time, good guy. Take care of him. And I'm like, what Gary said. Yeah. So anyway, no, his team was exceptional. They're awesome. I know it is no wonder that that's Gary's team. But anyway, so we show up at the stadium that day. It's at Hard Rock Stadium, which I'll always call Joe Robbie Stadium. On the club level is where things are going on. But each corner of the stadium is a different industry. So real estate, insurance, and then like the private rooms were the suites, was the media room. So when I first got there, it was just him and Kim, who's running the event. And I walk in, and it's been like, the only time I run into him, we run into each other, we're in another city in a green room, and I'm either about to introduce him or he's just about to hit the stage. It's just wild. And then he's always on his way to Miami. It's so crazy. So to be able to connect with him in Miami here, and I was like, how did you pull this venue off? He's like, well, Stephen Ross is my business partner. And I'm like, I just love that a Jets fan is doing his first event ever at Dolphin Stadium. So anyway, we got a chance to really catch up. I walked all the way down to the field with him before he kicked things off to do his keynote. And I don't know, I got a text or something. I'm like, Gary, I'll catch up with you in a little bit. And I walked on stage, and next thing I hear is the AV guy going, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, CEO of Gary Vaynerchuk. So later that day, we had scheduled some time to sit down with my film crew and get a pee shot. And that's the first thing I said was, dude, you realize that the sound guy introduced you, right? And he goes, yeah, I guess that was. I go, I died a little bit inside, Gary. Yeah, I guess I did. So during the interview, I go, well, I definitely look forward to MC and rocking the stage at Agent 2021 in 2019. He looks at me and goes, nice red hook. So anyway, the conversation has begun. I don't know when it's going to pan out, but it'll be fun to see how 10 years unfolds with Gary and I. But man, he's the real deal. He's been all that I've followed and really, really learned from, and I still learn from him on a daily basis, because not everybody knows who he is, and he's just spitting absolute truth, whether it is a prediction or his predictions are on it. I was listening to that episode of him and Joe Rogan when Joe Rogan had him on last year. That was an hour and 45-minute interview. Go pull it up if you haven't seen it. And they talked about everything and under the moon. But some of the predictions that were even a year ago that are starting to play out now, like the McGregor Mayweather fight. They were like, you think it's going to happen? And Rogan was like, 75% chance maybe it's going to happen. He's like, I think it's going down for sure. There's too much money in pay-per-view for it not to. Sure enough. Anyway, but Gary V for president.
Amen to that. Amen to that, definitely. Well, hey, man, I want to say thank you for taking time on your busy schedule to join us here. You keep rocking stuff out there, dude. Love what you're doing. Keep sharing out there. Keep kicking ass and taking names, okay?
Absolutely. And remember, podcasts suck.
Yeah. Amen to that, brother. Amen to that. Hey, we'll see you out. Go ahead.
I appreciate you, Sky. Thanks for reaching out, man. Anytime, I got time. I'll make time for you. And we're going to make
Same here, man.
Some deals going here. Hashtag Note Buzz.
Hashtag Note Buzz. That's right, brother. We'll see you later, brother.
You guys, bye.
Bye. Big guy can talk, can he?
Yeah.
Gotta love him. Biggest nugget from that point right there, I can tell you right now. Best nugget of that whole thing, he shared something there about how BNI groups work. So Business Networkers International, largest networking club in the world, chapters everywhere.
Right.
Each club is motivated to give referrals each week. You come in, if you don't get referrals, after a while you get written up and get booted out.
Yeah.
One person from each thing. He made a great point about going in there. If you shared a video, sharing it with everybody in the group because they're designed for that, it goes out to everybody's tribe. And then comes back in referrals to you. Hey, check out my boy Elijah. Check out my girl Christy doing some things out there. But having that to have 20, 30, 40 people that are referral sources for everybody.
Right.
I think it's one thing. I think it's that so many people get into social media, get into doing videos and stuff, is it's all me, versus providing value for the people around them. And then that turns like a servant leadership aspect of things, right? It comes back tenfold with what you give out, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And of course, well, that's their whole thing, right? It's the giver's gain, right?
Yep.
If you give referrals, then you should receive referrals, and honestly, if you can actually run and share business like that, it works out really well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because your course, it's just word of mouth, right? It's the best way to do it. And then on top of that, because you're getting out there to so many people, like what he said, I want to guilt you into doing business with me, right? Not because
not in a negative way.
Not in a negative way, but it's like, wow, like this individual is giving me so much.
Yep.
Why wouldn't I go do this with them? Why wouldn't I spend a little bit of money, because they've clearly already made me money? Like they've already made me money before I've even thought about spending money with them.
Yep. That is a huge value add. You can add that to anybody business. That's the big thing to look at. We talked about earlier about working with your vendors. We talked about getting sponsorships or things like that with Dana and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You work to promote people or vendors or companies that eventually like, oh my God, they're sending us all this business.
Right.
We want to do business with you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, exactly. I mean, you're like you're proving the worth, right? I think there's a social media guy out there right now, or he does. I don't know exactly what Billy Genius, but that's what he does. I've seen him like call people and basically say like, hey man, and this is part of his marketing. His marketing is him going out there and doing this for his people. But it's like, hey, if I can get you this many people showing up this weekend, like, would you start spending money with me? And the guy's like, well, I mean, yeah, if you could do that, I mean, why wouldn't I start spending money with you? Because I know I can make more off whatever I'm paying you. And guess yeah, there he is. They got on there. They started doing all their promotions, and people started showing up. Now, hopefully that was all organic, and people actually bought those tickets, and it wasn't anything that funneled through there. But clearly, the guys went from just barely starting his business to showing him going and buying his Bentley and talking about that story and spending. Now they're in this big office and doing all that kind of stuff, right? I mean, that's powerful. Like it works.
And sometimes it's not spending a chunk of time. Sometimes spend 5, 10, 20 minutes with somebody, or 30 minutes, or seeing them making a tragic mistake and approach them and say, listen, hey, I see you making a mistake. Right. I've been down that road before. Don't do that because of this, this, and this. Try it this way or tweak it this way, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's important to share information. I've been in some situations where I've gone to some industry professionals. I started trying to talk to them about whatever my issue was, and what I got was instantly like, "Let's just set up some consulting hours." Like, well, I don't want to set up consulting hours because I don't have that type of budget, right? I have a problem. You're a professional. Can you help me?
Just give me 5 minutes.
Just give me 5 minutes. Now, I'm not saying write me up a bunch of bulleted points and solve my problem. Send me the email, okay? It's my job to take the notes, okay? Especially if it's free information or something like that. But like, I've never had a problem listening to what somebody's problem was and then giving them like my initial feedback. Maybe it was a product, maybe it was a service, maybe it was just telling them like, hey, you don't need to pay for that. You don't need to buy that from me. You can get it for free if you want to go here, because sounds like you have more time than you do, actual budget. Or if you don't have that, I can definitely do it for you. But I've never tried to, con people into doing business with me, because I want them to do business with me. I want them to say like, no, I'm doing business with this guy. Like, I need that. I'm doing it because I already know the value.
Well, but that's the truth. The true successful are the people that, and that's the beautiful thing about the way society is, the way the world is, especially social media. You don't have to work with people you don't want to work with.
Yeah. Oh my.
And sometimes the best way you can say yes to business is to say no to
Yeah.
the pain in the asses, the people that are the time vampires.
Yep.
You know, because there's plenty of those out there as well who take time. But anytime you can give, I mean, I give Sebastian, get on the phone with Sebastian in 5 minutes and we talk back and forth just like that.
Right.
You know, I get maybe one word in 5 that he gets in, but that's okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Nothing but love for Sebastian. Nothing but love for him.
Yeah. Well, but with that, I think when you run into the people that just start taking and taking and taking, they're not giving.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times there's a real easy way to kind of let them know, like, hey, the day of like you taking so much is done. You know, like I've given you your value. Like, there's not much more I can offer you without now I'm like actually working for you for free. And I think when you start having those type of conversations with professionals, I actually think it's a good idea because it makes them aware, like, oh, maybe I have been taking, and I haven't realized. I just thought this guy was just like a real generous person who was real, who's just real giving, which, hey, it's not a bad thing. And that's exactly what it was doing.
Right.
But you get to that point to where it's like, hey, I have other people, that I need to help, that they're bringing value.
I have paid clients I got to take care of,
exactly.
and people be respectful of the people's time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not everybody is, and that's okay. You say, hey, listen, great, 30 minutes here. Otherwise, hey, go check out my videos. We're good. And that's actually a huge thing that we do with all our videos. And we do half the time, I'm like, listen, hey, great, I'll answer your talk 10, 15, 30 minutes with somebody. But what you're asking, there's a better video of me doing it for an hour that I don't want to talk an hour for.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's perfectly articulated over there.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Just use this link. There's no cost for it. Go right there to do it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, and I think when you're producing content on a regular basis, it's easier for you to direct people over there. That's another big thing, right? So you honing in on our what the type of content we need to be putting out there, and our maybe it's our one thing that we're specializing in, right? If you continue to talk about every step of whatever that is, like you will have the type of content where you can send people back to your blog.
Yep. And
they can read about all that, they can read about how to, do X, Y, and Z in the step-by-step formation without, again, you having to sit there for an hour and talk about it.
We call that binge listening on a podcast because you can see it. You can see upticks. I've had the best binge day I've had so far was 6,000 downloads, actually 10,000 downloads over a 28-hour period. And there was about 20 people that were binge listening to every episode every second.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, what happened here? I didn't pay for this anything. It's somebody's binge listening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. Or you get people like call you up that know you already. Mm-hmm. Oh, hey, I've been looking at all your photos online or seen all your videos online. I think I know you.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I don't know you there, but let's talk some.
Yeah. Right. Well, I've definitely ran across a lot of that. It's actually weird, even Dana was talking about it, people coming up and talking to you because they do know you. They're following you on social media. They
recognize the ears.
Yeah, they recognize the ears. Whatever that is, and they start coming up and they start engaging with you like they know you.
Yeah.
It's like the celebrity that you always see on your favorite reality show. You watch him enough or her enough, you might think like you actually know this individual and like y'all could be friends.
Are you talking like Ingrid Goes West, like the movie? Let me take a selfie with you.
Exactly.
We should have talked about that with the previous guy about social media disorders, mental health. But that's a valid point though too. Mm-hmm. People that works your way as long as you're genuine. People get a chance to know you.
Yeah.
And that's what's really the aspect. The first part is social is getting, and the media that you get out there. Because I think everybody has to realize in today's market more than anything else. Right. I know you guys get it. Sebastian get it. Most people that are on here, speakers get it or know it already, living it. We aren't just selling notes or selling real estate or marketing things. We all, and I think Sebastian put it best so far. We all run really our own media company.
Yeah.
And we all, whether it's all our niche, social, podcasts suck or Social Buzz TV or Serving Social.
Mhm.
We all have our little niches of media companies.
Mhm.
We Close Notes as a media company. You know, what we do, everybody that's out there, Bill Griesmer, Jim McCullen, all these people, Sandy Shaner, people that are watching here on my pages and stuff like that are sharing. Awesome. Thank you guys this morning. Everybody is a media company of some sort.
Mhm.
Whether you are a media company that's broke, not doing anything,
Oh, right.
you know, you're the PBS channel,
I was going to say you're a little publicly funded.
publicly funded. Yeah, exactly. The little PBS, or you're the TNTs, the Ted Turners, or those companies out there that are making things happen.
It's a TNT. We know drama.
We know drama. Okay. I think like Ted Turner, Turner Network. Okay. But yeah, TNT, we know drama. Exactly. Can't pay my bills. I know my drama, right?
Well, you know, and that I mean, we are turning into media companies almost. I mean, with Serving Social, I mean, that's exactly the direction that we're going.
Yep.
Like you know, the content strategy that we have set in play, it's really going to turn into where we could just have our own TV channel, be constantly streaming, you know, business-oriented content on a regular basis. Right. And I mean, at that point in time, that's where you start really getting into sponsors. You start getting into basically getting paid to advertise your own business and market the things that you do and educate, because of the fact that you're putting out that much content. Where you're almost borderline like FCC regulations. You know, it's time to you know, make this thing official type of stuff.
Yeah, and we talked about that a little bit earlier on these reality stars, but how Facebook, YouTube, Hulu, Netflix, even Disney's going to be coming out with their own live streaming here before too long.
Yeah, no, exactly. Oh, yeah, exactly. Like they started pulling license from everybody because they're like, now we're going to go ahead and consolidate this and continue to keep the empire going.
They're going to try to keep the empire, you know, the empire going. But there was an article that came out the other day that, would you believe Netflix is worth more than Disney?
Really?
Or Netflix may have bigger market share than Disney.
Oh, I could see that.
You see that now?
Yeah.
But they got laughed out of the building years ago.
Yeah, but you know, this is, you know, Netflix content has consistently gotten better, and on top of that, I mean, they've invested so much money, and you know, that's the thing. You know, if you really want to make some big moves, you either invest a lot of time or a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of resources have to go in that type of thing. And sometimes, you know, you might end up putting in a year's worth of marketing. You put a ton of dollar behind it. You don't see the benefit, you know, right off the bat. You feel like, you know, you spent a whole year, you know, not getting any results. But come around the other end, you know, you have all this content that's been out there. It's getting some history. You're getting to understand more about what you need, what you're doing. You're getting used to, like, okay, you know, we did that last year. We didn't really like that. You're perfecting it. And you'll see that ROI come around. And on top of that, you'll be really damn good at it. You'll be really happy you have all those blogs, all that video content out there that you know, people continue to see and continue to watch.
You just sit there and created and created and created and created. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Nope.
But it was built one brick at a time. And that's really what content is all about. One post, one video, one photo at a time, and just doing it over and over and over and over again, telling your story, sharing your message, sharing your dream, and what you want to accomplish by what you're focused on. You can see Sebastian's passionate about what he's talking about. Obviously, I mean, I just woke up a little bit on his way to the gym. He's a little passionate. I feel sorry for the dumbbells this morning with him.
Right, you're getting lifted.
You will get up over my head.
Yeah. Well, you know, I just think that's it's really powerful stuff.
Yep. So what we're going to do now, because we just hit the 4-hour mark here.
Okay.